Hey guys, how you doing today? Welcome to MarkTalk. I am your host, Mark Levy, and I am unbelievably excited to be here with you guys tonight. If this is your first time watching, welcome. What this is a multi-format show here on my YouTube and on my Twitch. You can look at that right there for that link. And also my Facebook if you're watching that there. But what it is every day there's a new type of episode. Sometimes interviews, sometimes miscellaneous, sometimes Brant Steals. Today we have an interview, and I'm so unbelievably excited about this. This guy is someone that I've actually admired for a while. I met him in the while I was modding a game a few months ago, and been a fan of his game, the Totem Pole, which is now the Penthouse, for a little while now. I'm very excited to talk to him about the show and the future of the show. Let me bring out Wesley Bryant. How are you, man?
Hello, I'm good and happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm happy to have you here, man. And I know that you've been busy getting everything ready and everything. Like I know all that stuff.
I'm a busy man.
It's good to be busy though, right? Like I love it. It's my favorite thing.
Honestly, if I didn't have something to do, I don't know what I would do. I would be so bored.
And one of the players from the third season that I've just been watching because I rewatched the whole season says hi. He's super excited. I'm happy to hear that. I want to get started with the question that has been on my mind, and I told you a little bit about this in our pre-talk. So like the game we have 3 seasons of it as the Totem Pole, and now since 2020 you're calling it the Penthouse. What was the reason for the switch?
So there's 2 main reasons, and I'll start with this one. To begin, after doing some research, totem poles are used by the Native American community for a spiritual purpose.
Okay.
And I'm not Native American, so I felt uncomfortable calling it that anymore. I also know that. And then I also know that there's so many more avenues that we can go with the Penthouse. You have everything from the basement, the penthouse, placing people, the bellhop, moving in, checking out. There's so much more as a brand to explore there. So why the change happened, A, and then B, why we chose the Penthouse was because there's just so much. There's so much there. And it might have been like a little seed having baggage as a twist for season 3 of the show.
That's true too. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the simple answer is
right.
That's
the idea of like a tower, which is like the visual of the show, like
right. Yeah.
And
it came from, I was watching Big Brother and Survivor, and you hear people all the time, like to this day, say, I feel like I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. Or you're at the top of the totem pole. And I was watching the show and I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect for this idea for a game that I have. We played it on my university's campus. I was like, hey, let's make it as a show. And then we put it on YouTube, and I was like, holy moly, there's something here. Thank you for making this.
Like, I've only watched season 3. I've not watched seasons 1 or 2, which I actually do want to watch. I imagine it's kind of similar, probably just a lower budget from what I've gathered. But I absolutely love the history of one of my favorite things at that first episode is how in detail you are about the history of you and why you create this show. And that's like a thing that I love about this type of thing, like where it's like, wow, I like this guy. I want to watch what he creates. He seems like an endearing, cool guy, and this game sounds like fun. And then like you're like, it's a little confusing. And then you explain it so well how each round works.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's something I worry about, is making sure that the viewer is able to process everything. I've been doing this for years, playing this game for years, and teaching this game to hundreds of people for years since the beginning. And something that I've realized is like, okay, this is a little bit complicated for people. Like, it's kind of complicated for me sometimes, especially at the beginning. But I'm like, okay, it's important for me that the viewers of the show is able to follow what's happening, because I can get too convoluted in explaining. So that's reassuring to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also like that even though it's complicated and there are a lot of advantages, there aren't too many advantages, and there's not guaranteed advantages too. Like the only guaranteed advantage is the top of the totem pole, which means you're safe no matter what, unless something insane happens that comes up from your brain.
And my personal favorite, exposed cards.
Oh my God. Like, I remember like the mystery of my brain, like watching that first episode, how I think like 10 people walked past it, before the first
my
one.
gosh. And I want to tell you a quick story. So Brett, shout out to Brett if you're watching. He's the game development manager, and he has been on the team since between season 2 and season 3. So he's focused on like making sure the logistics of the game works out, from twist and save cards, power cards, expose, secret advantage, some challenge stuff, you name it, and he's gonna touch it when it comes to making the show. I was like, Brett, we have to put this expose right here as they're walking up. And he was like, no, they're going to find it. I was like, have you seen season 1? Which in season 1, Kadia, who's on season 3, originally from season 1, she is looking for a card as soon as she walks in the house. And she is searching and searching and searching. And there is a card sitting underneath a vase. She literally looks over the vase, puts her hand in it, and goes, nothing there. And it's sitting right underneath the vase. I was like, trust me, Brett, trust me. They are not going to see this.
And the funny thing is that happens to her this season too, because she's the first one to have an opportunity to look to see the card. Like literally, they go up steps, and it's like 3 feet in front of them. And
classic Kadia.
Yeah,
classic Kadia. I love her so much.
Of course, Sabrina found it.
Sabrina.
But yeah, it's just so like I think like for my viewers that might not know the game, I think we should explain a round of the game. So every round starts off with a challenge, and the person that wins the challenge is to top the totem pole or the penthouse now. Yeah, the VIP, now. I love that. And then they place the people now, I guess, in the house to the basement.
In the rooms. So the VIP wins the challenge. The VIP moves into the penthouse, and then the person in the penthouse, the VIP, has a responsibility of moving everyone into their rooms from top to bottom. You do not want to be in the bottom in the basement.
And the bottom 5, I assume, are still not safe unless that changed, because I've not watched it in the...
That is correct for season 3. We have a lot of exciting stuff for season 4. That is not something that we talked about changing, but I don't want to give too much about it.
Don't do that. No. Other people are definitely applying right now. And y'all should apply if you haven't applied yet, because I'm actually tempted to apply myself. Like, because I've been wanting to play this game so badly. Like, I applied for the one on Friday, and I think I cast. I'm very okay with that because I'm gonna. It's all good. My time will come when it comes.
I actually don't cast those, so don't come for me on that.
It's really funny because I actually got asked to do a different game on Friday, so I'm going to do that. And because that was the first one to say yes, so it doesn't matter. So where was I? So they're all put in their rooms, and then is it still called a switch?
It is now called the bellhop.
Okay. I love these name changes. It feels like I don't know anything right now because I haven't watched the game since the season 3 style. But so someone chosen by people eliminated gets to move people around the rooms.
Yeah, so the bellhop must switch 2 rooms. And the bellhop is decided by random draw in the first round. So somebody at random will be selected as the bellhop. The bellhop will have to switch to. So let's say you're my ally, you're my friend, and you're in the basement, and I'm the bellhop, and I'm like, no, Mark, you cannot be in the basement. So as the bellhop, I would have the opportunity to move you up in a room and move somebody down into the basement instead. The VIP is the only person off limits.
And is it still called Defender, or is it like a landlord? Bodyguard, yes. Awesome.
Bodyguard. So the bodyguard.
Okay, obviously it's your game.
Okay. The bodyguard then must go to the basement, and the bodyguard has 2 choices. The bodyguard can either lock the basement door, leaving the player in the basement eliminated from the game. And if the bodyguard locks the door and eliminates the player, they get a power above all the other players. On the other hand, the bodyguard can save the person in the basement. But if they do, a twist is unleashed on the game and somebody will be eliminated instead of the person in the basement. Right. So in short, person in the basement has to choose someone to be their bodyguard. The bodyguard has to either save or take power. And depending on that choice, a twist will be unleashed in the game.
And then after that, another person gets eliminated from a vote.
And then the people in the bottom 5 rooms are up for elimination, and those 5 people are up for the vote, and everyone must vote someone out.
I love it so much. Like, I just love it because, like, as I said before, like, I'm a big fan of the social aspect of these games. That's where I like thrive. I thrive socially. But like the idea of it being, because like those competitions are hard in season 3. Like that first one, the hill, oh my god, like having to run up and down with. How long did that one take? Just out of curiosity.
I would say maybe 30, 45, 60 minutes, somewhere in there. Because we also have to, like, it's not just like a straightforward, hi, Robin.
Love
it's
Robin
not just
so
a straightforward, when you're filming, you have to do takes and cuts. So like when they do their part, obviously we're going to cut, and then we've got to make sure everybody's in line and make sure I'm where I need to be and that the mic's on me and the camera, and make sure that camera's running whenever somebody passes the expect. So it takes way longer in filming because there's so much setting up between everything. But it probably wouldn't take that long if we weren't really filming. But
I mean, like season 3 looked like it was shot like in 2 or 3 days, probably, right?
We were there for 5 days, and the game was for 2.
That sounds right, because like the first like 6 or 7 episodes, everyone's in the same clothing the whole time. So
yeah. And that'll be different for season 4.
Cool. I'm so excited to watch it. I cannot wait to. So you said you casted over 100 people to play these games, like because you've done a bunch when you were in college before you started bringing it to the YouTube. That's the way they say it, right? The YouTube, right?
Bring it to the YouTube.
But what do you look for when you were in the beginnings of this game casting, and then like when you started getting a reputation for yourself in college with this?
Yeah. So at that time, though. So it was just a Facebook group, and we played like at the tennis courts, and we would have like the challenges on the tennis courts or on the bleachers or whatever. So at that time, it was just a Facebook group, and I would be like, "Hey, we're playing. Sign up if you want to play." And people would be like, "Okay, cool." And people would show up every Friday night to play the game. And I don't want to get emotional, but it really brought so many people together. It truly did. Like there were so many people who were spending Friday nights alone in their dorm, didn't have anything to do. And then now they have lifelong best friends because they came and played the game. Like they will be in each other's weddings. Like
that's
it's insane.
Amazing.
So then it got to the point where there was maybe 150 to 200 people, students in the Facebook group. And then we started having waiting lists and having to play like larger games. At one point, there was like a 40-player cast, and I had to host. So I split it into 2. So it was like 20 and 20, and I went back and forth and hosted. And then when it got down to 10 and 10, I merged them into one game. That was
how
insane.
long did that take for a 40-person version of this? Because in my mind, like a round of this takes a minimum 30 minutes. Like that's like the quickest round possible. Like
as it goes on, though, the rounds get shorter.
Right.
And when these are just like for fun games, they don't get like 30 minutes to strategize like they do in the show. They get like 3 to 5, because we got to keep it pushing. But
40 people playing, yeah,
it was insane. But it really pressured me and challenged me to like become a better host, because I had to balance 40 players and running back and forth and like making sure saves and powers and It was a lot, but it was fun.
Yeah.
But anywho, so it started that way. And then when I got to season 1 and was going to cast, and same thing for season 2, I handpicked people who had played the game before. I tried to get people who hadn't played together, but I had seen them play before. And I knew that they were big personalities, exciting, could tell a story. Like Kadia, we've been might as well have been lifelong best friends, but we've known each other for 6 years, over half a decade.
I'll say that I consider lifelong, especially with adulthood. Yeah. Like because I feel like you don't really you make new lifelong friends when you're an adult.
Yeah. I met her when I was 18, and we've been stuck like glue ever since. But so for example, I knew that she would be amazing for the show, and
she is amazing.
So that's how season 1 and 2 got cast. Season 2 was more people who had never played before, or I knew of, or they knew of me, and like I don't know how to. This is not what it was. So like, this sounds really gross. Like, don't read too much into this. My people talk to their people type of situation, like mutual friends, where they're like, "Oh, I think this person would be good." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know who that is." And then through the grapevine, and like Jace, who's on season 3, he was originally on season 2. We didn't know each other, and we had a mutual friend, Allison, who was on season 1, who was like, "I think he'd be great for the show." He came in and we interviewed, and I was like, this Joker's gonna have to be on.
He's so great. So
that's how 1 and 2 was casted, and then season 3 I opened it up to everybody.
And like the cast you got for season 3 is just so fucking dynamic. Like, it's just so beautiful. Like, cause like when I hate throwing my stuff in like this type of situation. Like I've been creating a game recently myself, and I'm big on trying to keep like people be equals, like, you know, try to have it be half, all that good stuff. And that's what you did. And also, I love the fact that you don't just cast like 20-year-olds, you cast people older, cast people with disabilities, stuff, well, differently able, you know, like, and it's just like really, really fucking cool to see like, because you always hear like shows like Survivor and Big Brother, like, you're like, oh, we want to show like America, like what it really is. But like to actually see it happen is so good.
Yeah. And what I'm looking for really is your character and depth to who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing to me. Like, you can come at me like, oh, I have this strategy, and this is step 1 and step 2 and step 3, and go on and on and on about your strategy. I'm like, I don't know who you are. I care about who you are. What is the depth to who you are? What have you been through in your life that has changed you, that makes you want to do better yourself or help other people? What is your story? Where did you come from? Where you are now? And where do you want to be in the future? What are your fears in life? What are your aspirations? I want to know who you are in depth. That's what I care about. And that's what I'm looking for in casting, because I want the viewers to be able to watch the show and be like, I see myself on the show and relate to it, and just be glued to the screen. Like, this person's just so interesting and so fun. So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like, I remember when I was watching for the first time, like, Connor is such a beautiful character, iconic character, but like, you know, when there's an involved, that's when they become a character, in my personal opinion. But like him being like, I'm on the spectrum, and I want to represent people on the spectrum well, and like he always had the most fun, beautiful confessionals, and he played hard, and he played smart, and he did really well. And he was like always entertaining, and it was great.
He's hilarious. He's so funny. Actually, I don't think I've promoted this anywhere, but tomorrow a bloopers video from season 3 is going live on YouTube.
Oh yeah, and
Connor has a hilarious confessional in it.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I mean, that cast is funny as hell anyway, so I will definitely be watching it myself.
And we filmed in, it was the last, was it February? It was the last weekend of February, at the beginning of March. And
so like before like COVID came, like, so COVID was already in America by then.
There were, the first cases were reported while we were, I remember, because a production member, Garcelle from season 1, had my phone, and I had my Apple Watch, and I remember getting the notification of like the first COVID cases in America. And I was like, oh, it's here. Like, I remember like while we were there at location filming, it was like the first case was reported.
Wow. Yeah. You were bringing me back to last year at this point, and well, because like I was doing my play last year, and I knew that it was going to get to New York really fast once it got to America, and I was doing a solo play that I was like working my ass off, and was like finally getting great reviews and like getting people interested, like selling out the show and everything, and then like it's the play's still going to happen, but we have to wait till theaters are a thing again. But it's that thing of like also like. Finally, after like working my ass off as an actor for so long, something's happening, and then boom.
oh my gosh, I hate that. I'm so sorry.
It is what it is. But like, you know, I mean, if it wasn't for that, then I would have found a really cool community. And I look at the best way I can. Like,
and that's all you can do. That's all you can do. It's just be positive. Just try to find the light, because it's there. It is.
Like, it's a funny thing of like, I mean, honestly, like as I told you, I like met Sabrina and Luke in a game I want to say like end of April, early May. I know Sabrina's in the chat, so she might message because she said that like that season was shot last weekend of February last year. But like I was in like a really quick like fun org put together by my friend JT, and I met her, Luke, and a guy named Peyton, I believe, who was also there.
Before the season 3 came out.
Yeah, it was like before I played my first Quest game, which was the end of May. But like I was like, oh, these people are cool. I want to like talk to them and experience stuff with them. And then next thing I know, I hear about Totem Pole. This is such a weird question, but I'm going to ask it. What was it like watching the game go from like a small college thing to like being something that people talk about to like also like being in like having Brant steals and stuff like that? Like,
I don't know why, but you asking that just like hit me like a wave of emotion. It's just surreal because I think of like Wesley in the 7th grade, 11 years old, 12 years old, playing Big Brother season 11 on Brant Still.
Yeah.
And growing up, I always felt like I didn't belong somewhere, especially like in the school setting, right? And I found my home in the reality TV show communities online. And I made Sims Big Brother, Sims Survivor, Sims Hunger Games. Like I had all these Sims shows and seasons on top of seasons on YouTube. And it's just something I've always loved. I've been like, okay, y'all, like I would get with my cousins and I'd be like, we have to play Big Brother. And they're like, not this again. Not this again. And now to know that like an original game has, I think the thing that makes me the most emotional is looking at the 10-year-old Wesley, A, and then B, to know how many people, it's just surreal to know how many people have been involved, have played this game, have met lifelong best friends through it, how it's brought people together. In the reality TV world, like it gets a bad rep from people who aren't exposed to it in their everyday life. They think that it's just like a bunch of drama, blah, blah, blah. Of course, there's going to be drama, whatever.
I mean, it's reality TV. It's got to have drama. Like that, like, you're not going to, yeah, I mean,
and that's life.
Yeah. Like even Great British Bake Off has some drama. Like,
yeah. So anyways, just to know that people have found a community and felt included and felt represented through it. I can see my journey of being that 10-year-old Wesley to the 23-year-old Wesley. I'm seeing that journey in other people, how they feel like that 10-year-old and then like the 23-year-old who's like, I feel included and I feel like I have a home now. And that's the part that's surreal for me. And to know that it's like watched by thousands and thousands of people and on Brant Still and played all the time on, like, it's just like overwhelming in a way. So when I sit back and think about it, rather than like working on the show, we've got to promo this and then we've got a new mini coming out and then we've got to do social medias and like it's always something is moving. But when I take the moment to think about it and like answer a question, it's just like, whoa, like, is this real?
I mean, it's like you created a wholly original game. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a game where every round, it's not a big cast, every round is a double elimination. Like any round, almost anything can happen.
And it's so unpredictable. It's so unpredictable.
Like as I told you before we started talking, like when I first watched the season, I thought Jada was going to go far because she felt like the narrator of the season. And I know we're talking about like telling stories because like I am a storyteller too, as you figured out. But like the idea of like you have to have the narrators, and like you did such a great job of casting the narrators. Even the narrators were there for 4 episodes, you know.
Yeah, I know. And some people just have that genuine storyteller in them, especially when they're in a confessional booth. Like Jada's, she's pretty big on TikTok as well. She's a TikTok queen.
Okay.
And so I think she's used to like storytelling, especially in small bits. And that's what you kind of need for the edit.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons that she excelled. Also, speaking of TikTok, this is a quick tangent. Tessa from season 3.
Who's the funniest thing in the whole world. Oh my God, that world.
I love her. I'm obsessed with her. We've been best friends for a long time as well. Like she was there for like the season 1, season 2 premieres of the shows. Like I've known her forever too. And I just knew that she was perfect for the show. And I was like, you have to be on. But anywho, She had a TikTok go viral with her sister, who was on production for season 3. After we filmed, she had a TikTok go viral, and now all of her TikToks get millions and millions of views. She has almost 1 million followers on TikTok.
Wow.
She has a YouTube channel that has like way excelled the Penthouse. Like, she is killing it. So shout out to Tessa. Love you so much. And that was after we filmed.
I mean, that's what happens in the pandemic, right? Like, everyone starts doing TikTok, and yeah, that's awesome.
You accidentally have celebs on your hands.
So like, when you were filming the season 3, how? Because I imagine that while you were hosting the show, you were still kind of directing and telling your crew who to follow. I imagine, right? Or you just telling your crew to. Because you have at least 3 or 4 cameramen, I believe, in season 3.
It was a team of 5 people. One of them was a photographer. And I don't think I've ever released that photography. It was really just for like promo photography or give it to the cast so they can have it for memories. I can release it at some point. I should write that down. But so there's 5 people. 1 was photography. 3 were on video. And then 1 was on break. And they just rotated every round. And I would direct from the angle of like, I would whisper in their ear, this person got voted out. When I reveal it, like, pan the camera, zoom in. Excuse me. Or let's say, for example, when Luke walks in at the beginning of season 3, I would go to before we shoot that, I go to the camera person. I'm like, I need to get a close up on Jackie because they're baggage.
Yeah.
So I'm directing in that way of like, I know the angles that because I'm the only editor for the show, hopefully not for long. I'm the only person who edited all 3 seasons, which is just like the biggest
The editing is incredible, by the way. Like,
thank you.
Because, like, honestly, the show, if the show didn't work in the edit, then it doesn't work. Like, you're watching a 45-minute long thing of people just talking on a camera, but
it's
like, it looks great.
Honestly, like it feels like a film.
I mean, every round's 90 minutes, even though every episode's like 45 minutes long. Yeah, but yeah, continue. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine. So yeah, it's just a lot of directing. Like, I need this angle, and when they're strategizing, I'm like, just follow the drama. Like, and when you're with them, you can follow the drama. And then whenever they're finished, it's time for the vote. We would have a meeting with the producers and be like, okay, what happened? What do we need to expect? What questions do we need to ask? What do we need to get to the bottom of? Who's going to go home? And all camera people would have different stories. Like, they'd be like, well, it sounds like this person's going. And the other person's like, I think it's going to be this person. Like, it's fascinating. So whenever it's free-for-all strategy, they get to just follow the drama is what I tell them. But I'm also like moving around as it's happening, and I'm watching, or I'll see like an angle and I'm like, oh, let's actually get this angle, and I'm behind the camera like positioning them differently. Or so yeah, I'm definitely directing and
thinking about hosting. The future while hosting. Yeah, and like I just love like the angles and stuff. Like, one of my 2 favorite things are like throughout the season is whenever they go into like the save or power room, like how they has like, it's so shadowy except for the green and red lights. They're like, this is bad. This is ominous. And that's why I love, and obviously that's why I'm season 4, you know. Like, season 4 is gonna be fucking terrifying. It's gonna be like something just dripping or something. Like,
we actually have a new person on the team as of like a few months ago, Kendall. She's from season 2. Amazing. Love her to death. Shout out to Kendall. She is the aesthetics manager. So she is solely responsible for making sure everything is 10 times better than it was in season 3.
Okay. And that's season 3 is good. Like, I don't know how big your budget was, but like, I can't imagine it being that big. And I know that you used it well. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
One of my dear friends, Dan Alt, said he played the mini on Friday. He had a great time. I love Dan Alt. He is an amazing human being. I'm very happy. I heard he did well, actually. So that makes me happy. But like, and also like another thing I really loved was when you revealed if they were safe or the power, like you just had the box out and then just open it like right there. It's just a really cool angle of like this.
Yeah. Cool. And I have a funny story too. So through 3 seasons, so I wasn't the host for season 1.
Okay.
I was the lead camera person for season 1. I never really wanted to be on camera. I wanted to only direct. I wanted somebody else to be the host. And just one thing led to another. I ended up being the host and the director and not on a camera anymore. Through the 3 seasons, I've never been like jittery nervous. I've had butterflies in my stomach or been excited, but I've never been like, I'm nervous. For some reason, I was, for the first time, for like a short couple seconds in season 3 filming, we went down to the Defender room in round 1. This is spoilers, so if you haven't seen season 3, and Derek takes power, and he goes back upstairs, and I'm with like the camera person and Brett, the game development manager, and I'm like, this has never happened before. I know that Nicole's going home. She just came a long way. This game just started. Like, I felt so bad for her, and I just knew that all hell was about to break loose. So I go upstairs, and as I was like, okay, are we ready? We're rolling. I'm getting ready. I've got my box. And before I said, like, all right, here we go, like, hit play, action, I was like, I don't know what's about to happen. Is there about to be like an argument in the middle of this room? Like, is somebody going to cry? Like, that was one of the first times where I was like, I'm genuinely nervous.
And she was great in the show. I mean, you don't get much of her in the show, but she's incredible in the 2 episodes that she's there.
Yes, she was definitely robbed. Definitely robbed. I'd love to have her back.
Is there like anything that like actually like really shocked you while an episode, like while a season was happening? Like a person went home they didn't expect, or a person went farther than they didn't expect? Yeah,
all the time. There's all the time where I go back to like we call it the confessional room or the therapy room. Because some players just walk in and they just grab the wall and they're like, and they just break down, and it's like, it's okay, you just need a hug. Like, they get really into it, which is what we need.
Yeah.
And sometimes you never would expect like who's going to break down when they walk in, but so many people do, and they've made me cry in the therapy room, like whatever. Anyways, it was almost every round there would be something where I was just like, and the main one that sticks out to me was Madison and her cards.
I knew you were going to say that.
Madison and her, every single time. I was like, this is your chance, and you just don't do it. And
the whole game, she's in danger. The whole game, and then she has 2 cards.
I know. Every time I was like, she's done it again. And I think at one point, not the therapy room. Yeah. At one point, I remember looking at Brett, and we were both like, is she about to win this game? Like, is she about to win? Obviously she didn't, but
it's just like, I mean, like, her arc is so insane, how she was just on the bottom but had so much power, and spoiler alert, never really used any of it at all. But she's such fun TV, like,
yeah, and she surprised me. I have an idea of how everybody's going to be whenever we get there, because obviously we can't meet everybody in person. We have to cast through Zoom and Skype and blah, blah, blah. And I have like this idea of every cast member in my head. Madison was totally different than what I expected.
What'd you expect her to be? If you don't mind me asking.
A more of a quiet floater.
Oh, that's not her at all.
But she totally was not. And I was also shocked by, and this isn't a bad thing if it comes off like that. I don't mean it to. I was shocked by the heightened emotion, which is understandable, but I just didn't expect it.
I mean, the poor thing was put through the ringer like every round, I'd say, it looked like. And she always had like really fun, big confessionals. Like, yeah. I'd say she was like one of the more fun, big confessional players of that season.
Yeah. And there were so many moments where we're just like, well, I think one time we were actually like, okay, cut. We've got to like set this up or whatever. Like, don't talk. And I look over and it's like multiple cast members are breaking out into tears. And it's like, turn the cameras on. Like, what's happening?
I mean, that's what happens when cast. Everyone is there to fucking play, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like so obvious, especially when it gets like the final six, I'd say, is like when it's like really obvious. Everyone that's here wants to win. Like everyone wants to fucking win, you know?
And at that point, like you don't have your phone. You haven't had your phone for 2 days. The only thing you've thought about is this game, and the only people you've communicated with are the other players. Like you're so invested in the game at that point.
Yeah. So when did you start doing mini versions online?
When was that? I had done them on Skype.
Okay.
Before season 2 came out. But as the team started to grow, because originally it's a show. We're not like a Twitter game or a mini that we turned into a show. It originally was a show.
Right.
And as the team was growing, because there was no way I could manage that. Now that we have a solid team of 6 working on pretty much everything right now, and then we have another mini team as well. Anyways, I'm rambling, but to have the team grow, I was like, okay, we get asked to have this all the time. Like people obviously want it. And there is also a way to raise money for season 4 of the show, which is a huge deal to fundraise. Yeah. So as the team grew, I was like, okay, we have the resources to do this now. Like we can, so we tackled it. I don't remember when the first one was.
But like, I mean, they're fairly consistently. They happen fairly consistently now, and I think there's gonna be an actual schedule for that too, which is great because to play those games, most of the time you have to be a Patreon, except for this week's game. I know you're doing the free game, which is awesome.
Friday, yeah.
Like, what's it like to host those? Like a shortened version of a thing that's only a 2 to 3 day experience for you.
I can feel anxious sometimes before. But whenever I get into it and we're playing, I'm just so excited. Like I'm watching the players. I'm like I want everybody to have fun. I'm watching the YouTube chat. I'm looking at Twitter. Like it's so fun. And you get to meet so many people and talk with them and meet like great friends. Like I really do enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, I watched most of Virga's win, which was incredible. And
Verga is on the mini team now.
That's great. They're awesome. Amazing player, great person. And it's so cool how the show actually translates to a mini. Like it's really nice to like, I feel like it's almost a 1-for-1, you know, like the competitions are of course not able to be physical, but like it's still the same game exactly.
Yeah. And that was my goal. I want you to be able to experience what you've watched. Like you've watched the show, you've enjoyed the show. I want you to be able to be in their shoes. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about season 4, if you can talk about some of it, and some of the exciting changes that are happening like right now for the game, besides for the name change and names change is. So like applications open for season 4 in September, right? And
something like that.
They're closing in like 11 days.
Yes, 11 days.
So what's it been like going through the process of casting with that? You're trying to I'm imagining the same kind of chemistry you want from season 3 into season 4, or similar chemistry.
Well, there's some, but I would say the majority of the applications are new applications. Cool. Actually, but
like the chemistry style, like the type of players from.
Who I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm looking for depth. I'm looking for character. I'm looking for excitement. I'm looking for energy. I'm not really looking for your strategy. It is important, like mention it. Yeah. But I really want to like peel back the layers of the onion. Who are you as a person? What drives you? Why? Like in interviews, I'll like to just ask why over and over again and dig. And then you're like, there it is. There's your story.
Yeah, like that's so much fun. Like figuring out like what motivates someone to do anything. Like it's great. Is season 4 going to be like a 2-day type shoot, or
2-day shoot? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like a 2-day shoot maybe or longer.
It's going to be longer. Yep.
Yeah.
There's going to be much more game. There's going to be there's so much. There's going to be more game, more days to play it. More locations.
Ooh.
There's a lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah. So like tell us what you can tell us about season 4 then, if you don't mind me asking.
It's going to be the best season.
Okay.
Because through fundraising, our budget has increased. The locations are just stunning. We have some tricks up our sleeve.
Okay.
Don't look for any so season 1 and 2 didn't really have a theme. Season 3 had the theme of baggage. This season see it as like the Penthouse back to basics type of situation. The rules are still going to be relatively the same, but there's not going to be an overarching theme of the season. And it's more so also to just kind of like wrap your head around the brand change and the new name as well.
Right.
So that's pretty much going to stay the same. There is a twist, but
I'm not asking you to like that. Yeah.
But the cast, like just looking at the applications, I'm like, and Shane, the casting manager, I'm surprised he's in Texas today to finish watching all the applications. But it's like, we're going to need a 35-person cast because it's going to break my heart to tell so many of these people no, because they're just so good. They're just so good.
Yeah. That's what's such about casting.
I know. It's so rough. It's so rough. And it's like, when somebody applies, the way I like to describe casting is trying to solve a puzzle that's always changing. So if somebody applies and you're like, they're amazing, we have to interview them, we want them on, yes, 10s across the board. That might change the dynamic in the cast. So then we're like, this person that we loved, we really want this person as well. How are they going to mesh well together? Should we replace this person? It's like trying to solve a puzzle that's always changing.
I think you're a person in charge of casting.
I've almost watched all of them.
So wait, you're saying that since I didn't cast in the free game, I should blame Shane?
You said what?
You said since you're not in charge of casting anymore, and I wasn't cast in the free game, I should blame Shane.
Well, he doesn't do he's the casting manager for the film show.
Okay. Josh
is actually the mini manager.
Oh, okay.
So Josh is responsible for the minis casting.
I actually want to talk a little bit about Josh because we haven't brought up Josh, and Josh is someone that we both know, and he's an amazing player and amazing at this game. I don't want to spoil more than we really spoiled. But like, how is it going with his show?
Good. There's news coming out very soon. It's starting in February, the first week of February, or second week of February. So news will be coming very soon.
I can't wait to find out because that guy is a genius and a good dude, and I'm very, very excited to see what y'all up your sleeves because I don't understand your sleeves half the time, Wesley, but I enjoy your sleeve.
I love that so much. It's an enigma.
Like what are you thinking? Like, what do you want for the future of the Penthouse?
So my dream, obviously, would to be reach and give an opportunity to every fan of a reality TV show.
Okay.
So everybody who's a fan of Big Brother Survivor, who feels like those shows are too far out of reach and that I'm not a supermodel, so I'll never make it on Big Brother. And they only cast 16 people a year. But there's so many good people in the community, and there's so much more than just those shows. Like, I'm not trying to, bash those shows. I grew up on them. I would love to be on them. But there's just so much more than like gatekeeping of the avenues that reality TV show fans get to explore. So my dream in the future is just to reach everybody, to make everybody feel loved and included, and not to be afraid of being themselves. And that's so like abstract and gross, whatever. But I want everybody to feel like they can be their self and be loved at the same time. I
love that so much. Like, I remember like falling back in love with Survivor. Because I took like a 17 season hiatus between seasons of Survivor. When I watched first few like in high school and was bored, and then like in 2010, like shortly after moving to New York, I was doing my M2 shows and the whole cast walked through for Heroes and Villains. And I remember Rupert like said like something like he like grumbled something at me, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch that. And then I got addicted because it's Heroes versus Villains.
Wait, that's such a fun story.
It was so insane, like because like there were people that I recognized that walked through, but the only person that talked to me was Rupert. But like, because I knew who Rupert was because I saw him like in commercials. But like looking back, I'm like, yeah, I definitely saw Russell. I definitely saw Coach. I think I saw Parvati. I'm not sure, but like I was working at Madame Tussauds, like first job in New York, and I was like on my break and like Madame Tussauds waxing. For those that don't know what that is, the weirdest job in the world. It doesn't matter. But it was like he was like grumbled something at me and then laughed and walked away. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then cool. I can't complain. Rupert, he was nice. I mean, I don't think he's politically sound sometimes, but that's the way it is in some people in Survivor, in life, Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. But like, it's that thing of like, I love that you are creating a game that is, a show that is like fun for all. Like, it's a hard game.
That's the idea.
Well, it's definitely like one of those things I could recommend to people because it's hard to understand at first, but once you understand it, you get it. Like the hardest part about it's the double elimination thing, and then you're like, oh yeah, I get that fully. And I can't wait to see
the VIP. You're safe for 2 eliminations if you're the VIP.
Two eliminations. I'm like, wait, 2 eliminations. I'm like, my brain didn't even process that. And but it's that thing of like, it's so cool that what you're doing, and that's the thing that makes me happy. And I can't wait to see where the Penthouse goes,
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's stuff like that keeps me going. Obviously, it's a lot, and I'm very busy. I work a full-time job, which I enjoy as well.
Yeah.
I love that too. But sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes I'm like, I've been editing this episode for 30 hours and it's not finished. Like, I feel like I'm climbing a mountain that I'm never going to get over. But then when I have these conversations and I put the show out and I see the comments and I see people who, we're all normal people, like the cast, the crew, everybody's just a normal person. But yeah, I want us also to be like able, like you can reach out to us and talk to us. So to see like somebody messages Jada and she responds and they're like, oh my gosh, like you made my day because you responded, like stuff like that. I'm like, this is why. And there's going to be mountains.
Yeah.
There's always going to be mountains, but there's so much good that's coming out of it. And that's what keeps me going. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it.
I mean, like, I'm not going to deny it. Like, fanboyed when I saw Shane, like, one of my tweets promoting this, like, the other day. I was like, oh my God. Like that thing of like, it's like we all geek out over people, like,
I do too.
Like, yeah. I mean, and it's just cool to cheer people on that seem like good people, that's, and also I love the fact that you cast people I think are like people you want. I don't know if they all can, but people you want to have a drink with, which I think is the goal for any good cast, in my personal opinion.
And for me personally, I like fall in love like with all the cast members. Like everybody has a special place in my heart. So it always breaks my heart to see somebody eliminated. Like it's so many times, like people get eliminated, they walk out and they're so upset. Like this happened so many times in season 3. And the first thing I do, I'm like, okay, cut. There's a bunch of stuff to do, but there's also a production team who's there to help as well. The first thing I do most of the times, or what I want to do, is to just run outside and be like, I love you, or I hope you're okay. It is just the game. You killed it. I love you. Like the cast is just so good. And I'm not saying like, oh, we casted them. It's the people. It's the cast. The cast is the show. And if it wasn't for them, then it wouldn't be what it is. And it wouldn't be growing the way that it is.
And it's growing great from what it sounds like. I mean, you have the Patreon happening, which seems to be doing really well. Mm-hmm. And lots of views on YouTube and hopefully soon networks.
Yes.
Like Netflix.
I love Netflix. Hulu, HBO Max. Like this.
Shudder. It's not scary. We can make it scary.
We can make it scary. I love Halloween. Like we can definitely have a Halloween season.
I want to ask you a question, like wrap it up, because I usually grew up watching Survivor. I always like to ask, like, what was like your favorite Survivor season and like favorite like Big Brother season and stuff like that?
I started Big Brother with season 11.
Okay.
It's so hard for me to pick a favorite. I will say I enjoy seasons a lot more if I'm not staying in tune with commentary on the season. While it's happening. Like I'll try to watch the live feeds, but to be like in the commentary, it can often take like a mob mentality and very negative. Which, I mean, call out what needs to be called out. Anyhow, I don't know what the point there was, but my favorite season is probably going to be Big Brother 11, maybe 14, maybe 13. But Survivor's a lot easier to answer. What'd you say?
Like those are like sweet spot seasons. I feel like because I'm not a Big Brother person, I've watched like the important seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's your Survivor season then?
Survivor, I started with Survivor Samoa, which I believe was Russell's first season, which was season 19.
Uh-huh.
And my favorite is probably Survivor Second Chances.
Such a great season.
Such a good season. Like, if you've never seen Survivor before, start with that. Well, there's going to be some spoilers, but
I would say start with Cagayan or David versus Goliath, personally. That's
okay.
That's my gateway seasons for people. So I'm
with you there.
Yeah. Because it's funny, like, one of my best friends just started watching Survivor because it's on Netflix, and she started with Heroes versus Villains, and I'm like, and then she watched Cagayan. Now I'm like, you're gonna start with Pearl Islands now, and you're gonna work your way forward with the good seasons. So.
My supervisor at work actually just started because Survivor was on Netflix as well.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, it's great. I love it so much. I'm
also like Winners of War as well.
Oh, I love Winners of War. Yeah,
I hate Edge of Extinction. That's a twist. I hate it.
Twist, but two people that I love from the show have come back from it. One of them was in Winners of War. One of them was in Edge of Extinction. And I'm not saying the winner of Edge of Extinction. I'm a diehard Rick Devens fan. I love him. Yeah. But yeah. Anything else you want to talk about before we start wrapping up?
Nothing really. I mean, I feel like we've covered a lot. I've had a lot of fun talking with you.
I've had a blast, dude. Like, cause like I remember when I met you in Austin's game, I was like,
yes.
I like Wesley. Like I remember I talked to you like briefly afterwards. I'm like, I like this dude. And like that's when I actually started watching this season because it's like I want to support this guy. Like,
and I was trying to act a fool on that game. I was just trying to have fun and create some entertainment.
That's all you can do sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
And like especially on those like fun like night long games, it's like might as well have some fun if I'm gonna be here.
Yeah. Plus I love Austin. So
Austin's great. And I'm gonna pull up your banners. So so you guys can follow Penthouse on @Penthouse the Game on Twitter. PenthouseGame.com has all the information like in the world of Penthouse and how to watch it. How to become a Patreon for that. I highly recommend if you want to support really cool independent art here. I'm gonna call it art. Yeah, casting information. And also, of course, you can do the casting is open for season 4, so January 31st. Also, Select Fridays. I know you guys have Penthouse Minis. That's exclusive to Patreons, except for Fridays coming up. And that's like, and you can watch on the YouTube page live, the main room at least.
Live streamed.
So, yeah.
You were killing it. You were on top of it.
I try hard, man. Like it's a thing of like when I became unemployed and all that stuff from work, and like I didn't have an outlet as an actor, I started doing this like during the summer because I'm like, well, this is something I can actually enjoy and like be creative, you know.
Keep doing it. You're killing it.
Thanks.
Keep doing it.
I'm gonna do my small stuff quickly too.
Of course.
So yesterday came out the new episode of Mark Meets World with my friend Josh Benjamin. We talked about Boy Meets World season 2, episode 4. Me and Mr. Jode. It's really fun to talk about that one. Friday, we talked about this a little bit. Friday, my Brant Steele day. Wesley, do you want to be on my Brant Steele this week?
Fun.
Do you want to be on it? You don't have to be here. I just need your permission for your name and your photo.
Oh, absolutely. Or you can add me to it, but also I was on season 1 of Sequester, which I believe the cast is on there.
That's true too. Yeah, and you did pretty okay in that season too.
I got 6 out of 23. I'll take it. It's like making a 90 on a test. Sure.
You're in every episode, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to bring it up so much. I know this is more about Penthouse, and I don't want to be like, oh, sequester, you know. But you were great in that, and I will definitely use your photo then if you want from that season.
There's some better photos than that, but
okay. If you want, then send me a different photo. Do you have a preference on Survivor season though? For the Brant Steele.
You said what?
Do you have a preference for what season of Survivor I use? I can do any. Okay.
Surprise me.
All right. We'll figure that out then. And I'm gonna let people know because there's still for more days going to apply for the adventure game. My choose your own adventure game. It's really fun. It's really silly. It's all done in one night, and you can watch seasons 1 and 2 on the YouTube page here.
Let me know a schedule for when you do those. I would be interested in applying at some point or another if I was able.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Yeah, I can send you the application if you want to. If you like, yeah. I know you're about to get busy because I imagine production's gonna get crazy very soon for season 4.
Yeah, casting's about to pick up. We're about to start sending out emails and having interviews. We have meetings every week. Like, I mean, I've had 2-3 meetings outside of work about the show this week already. So
yeah,
always busy. But if I can find some time, I'd love to play.
I would love for you to play. I find you fascinating to watch play, and I like to cheer on good, cool people. That's a real thing for me as a human being.
Well,
and I thank you so much for doing this. Thanks, Sabrina, for helping set this up.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you, dude. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.